If you live in a drier climate, such as mine here in Colorado, you can definitely benefit in improving your water resources across your small suburban property. This video is going to show you various ways that you can do this and collect water and store it and sink it in your own land without water runoff into your neighbor's land. It's been a while since I've done a homesteading or gardening video. It's definitely getting winter time, and I've decided, you know, like everything else I talk about, I say I have a plan A and a plan B. Well, we're at plan B of my hardscaping, and I bought this book on irrigation and water and the natural flow, how it should go through your yard and everything. So guess what I did? I was completely inspired. So now I am going to rip up my yard and everything's going to be water efficient. So let me give you a short viewing of this yard, how it looks right now. So this video is going to be on Waterworks. Everything is going to have a high point, a low point, a swale, a berm, a water retention of some sort. I am completely changing up the elevation of this yard. It's all hand dug. It looks like a disaster, right? Well, correct, it is a disaster. We are landscaping, or like I like to call hardscaping. We're putting in sink beds to collect water, but I just really wanted to give you a video of what it's looking like right now. This is what the paths look like. Everything in this yard was absolutely flat. I do have hugel mounds and large swales everywhere, but I don't have any water catchment, so that's going to change. I've ripped out the sidewalk. Everything's completely ripped out. Instead of working upward, I'm going downward. In that book that I read, it talks about in dry climates, it's really important to have your trees planted in sunken beds to catch water rather than hugel mounds and raised beds, which are more beneficial in rainy places. So I completely did everything backwards. So I have plenty of raised beds in this yard. Everything's been raised up via wood chips and existing dirt, and now we are digging downward. And so this place is going to have such elevation change, an absolutely flat yard, but now we're going to have as you can see, I've already lifted this sidewalk up a foot. It's all going to be an illusion too. We're going to raise up this back corner up about a foot, and we're going to gradually step it down. There will be sunken beds. As you can see, I've already put them in. I have Waterworks over there too going on. Basins are a recycling tool in the garden. All water runoff from your garden brings down nutrients into these little basins, which you planted out heavily, and it stops the water, it sinks it in the spot, and any excess runoff will spill off into another infiltration basin you have down further. Now later on, we're going to fill these with organics. These infiltration basins will have organic matter from yours, and you will be able to recycle this back onto the hugel mounds, which originally that's where the nutrients came from to begin with, right? But now we have a new product that's completely composted, and we can top our raised beds with it. Okay, so let me explain what I've been doing here. For Waterworks, I want to make sure all water sheds from the house to the bottom of the yard, right? So I've been essentially leveling off bricks with a slight slope downhill, which, remember, there was no downhill here at one time. I'm making a downhill, but I'm collecting dirt from the lower trail. Take this clay, we're gonna move it up to this next section of the path that I'm gonna make, and I'll just keep proceeding from there, loading dirt up from down here and putting it up there. So essentially, there's no easy way to move the dirt around. You want to break your clay up, you can always grow like turnip in it. The roots will expand and cause aeration in the clay. Then you chop and drop it, or let your chickens eat the tops off. The bottom will rot in the soil, and then you'll have air pockets in the clay. Worms will move in, causing more aeration in your clay. But me, I found it easier just to put hugel mounds on top of the clay. Why I'm doing this is I want the water to go away from the house but I want it to go into specific areas, namely places where trees are going to grow or berry bushes or something like that. I'm utilizing all the water. I'm not letting it get wasted. It's not rolling off into my neighbor's yard, you know. So walkways, you really need to have them above any of your surrounding landscape. This allows for a dry path to walk on and allows for the water to run off into these basins and other water features that you've made. So as you can see, it's very important to have these raised beds up higher above your raised beds. Before, these pathways were all at ground level in between raised beds. So a micro terrace is basically a miniature sized version of a terrace, which later on in other videos I'll show you building a grander size terrace. But here it will allow water to be captured, stored, and sunken in place for anything I plant there. Ideally, I'm going to plant cactus along this edge here as a speed bump for my dogs so they don't go tearing through my landscape. Here I am making a stabilized spillway so that from one sunken bed to the next, the water has a way to go. And this putting stones here keeps it from eroding. Now I'm going to be cutting this video short, and I hope you stay tuned for the next series on this great big project that I'm doing. Enjoy. We'll see ya.